Hey, folks, just wanted to give some assistance on Zoom meetings because now we're seeing in the media with so many people, chilling out at home, getting bored. The mischief has begun, right? People are doing what is now being called Zoom bombing. They're getting into meetings and they're just causing trouble. They're trolling, basically. It's the internet term of trolling. They're leaving inappropriate comments. They're getting on the microphone and saying inappropriate things. They're taking over the screen share function and posting really offensive pictures and stuff. You can prevent this. And it's in your Zoom settings. They're just deeper functionalities that you need to be used to. So normally when you'd be in Zoom, you'd be here in the meetings tab, and you'd schedule a new meeting, or you'd set up your personal meeting room, right? You want to come down to settings. And in settings, there's some basic stuff first that's not going to really protect you, but it helps set up your meeting flow. Do you want to start a meeting with your video on as the host? Yes or no? They have these little slider buttons. Do you want your participants to start with their video on? Yes or no? Do you want telephone and computer audio for your meeting? Only telephone, only computer. You can control that. A lot of people know you can control that. Do you want people to be able to join before you as the host? Or do you want to make them wait in a queue, basically? You can set that. You can have, authenticated users. Participants need to authenticate prior to joining the meetings. Hosts can choose one of the authentication methods. So if you're working in an organization, you can have the people on your team become authenticated users, and then they're the only ones that can join your meetings. Some ways that we're using Zoom, that's not going to be helpful for, but it is one solution. The other solution is a password. You can turn on password protection, and then the people who want to get into your meeting have to enter the password or they can't get in. Okay. And you can do that for instant meetings too, not just scheduled ones. Let's see what else. You can set it so that when people come in, this is a good thing in meeting etiquette to do. You can have a setting preset where whenever people come into the meeting, they're automatically muted. And that way you don't get people who are fumbling with their keyboard and their mouse and making noise, tricking the software into putting the camera on them. You start them muted and it makes a little smoother startup. And then they unmute later when they really have something to say. In the meeting, one security thing you can do, if you're talking about things that might be considered sensitive, you can click this that will prevent participants from saving the chat dialogue. All right. You can prevent that from happening if you need to. You can make a private chat available where if you're in a meeting with 10 people, people can only chat the whole group, or when you turn this private chat function on, they can select individuals in the meeting and chat with them privately during the meeting. That's again more of a workflow issue. When we get to the more serious security stuff, it's going to be down here. All right. So allow host to put attendee on hold. This is basically your way of muting someone. If someone comes in and they're trolling, you can temporarily remove them from the meeting. So that's a setting that you might want to have turned on. You just hit the radio button and it turns it on, and then you have that power anytime you're having a meeting. You also want to definitely hear screen sharing. You want to set your screen sharing, unless you have a specific meeting where you will need other people to share their screens. Your standard, make it so that only you as the host can share your screen. And that way, nobody can get in and take over the meeting and start putting inappropriate content on a screen share. So set your default to host only. And then if you have a meeting where your participants might need to, change the setting for that meeting. You can disable the desktop or screen share and only allow sharing of selected applications. That's another security setting that you have. And then the last one, where'd it go? You can have a waiting room. There it is. You can make a waiting room where when you have your meeting, they get queued in a digital waiting room and they only can join when you admit them individually. So that's another way to control the flow of people into your meeting. Is you can, again, everything you add is going to make a little more work for you, but that's another option. Put them in a digital waiting room. Don't let them in until you know you really want them to be there. Okay, so these are some of the deeper functions of Zoom that are worth you getting familiar with and you learning about. Spend some time in this settings tab and get your presets arranged so that you don't get caught with a Zoom bomber who tries to ruin your meeting for their own mischievous enjoyment.